Exception, Blacklisted podcast.
All right, what is going on, guys? We are here with another episode of the Blacklisted podcast, Be the Exception. We are running through, we had some of our in-person clients come in on Saturdays, write down a bunch of questions for us. So we're about to read through these and answer them. Some of them are interesting and some of them are on training.
Do you have any autistic questions?
All of them. All of them.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All of them are. Okay, maybe we'll just start off with a little icebreaker one here. If you were a bagel, what type of bagel would you be?
I don't know what that means.
I don't
No. What the fuck is a bagel?
Oh, my accent.
I know.
Yeah,
Bagel.
bagel. Bagel.
A horde of bagels.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota.
Asiago.
I would be a plain bagel.
Makes sense.
Yeah, super plain.
I think it'd be an everything bagel. It's my favorite one.
I don't know why I said Asiago. I just recently.
I don't even know what Asiago
It's like
is.
the cheese, like the bagel that has like cheese
Does
on
it
it,
have
right? It's
jalapeno?
fancy. It's probably French, and then now I'm gonna have to beat myself.
Isn't it a little spicy?
No.
Oh.
Okay, right on. Well, all right, let's jump into some of these more training-oriented questions. So first one we have is, how do you develop more capacity in any gymnastics movement? I think this is a little bit of a broad question, so you guys can take
I've
it
got
wherever.
a quick one.
Yeah.
Volume, density, intensity. We talked about that on another podcast.
Yeah, we did. We did. What
I
if
mean-
your movement quality sucks?
Fix, movement, quality.
If you start there first, then agree across the
volume.
board.
Yeah.
Then density.
Yeah.
Then intensity.
Which there is I will say, to add more to it, if your movement patterns are not good, you can't do a lot of volume of those, otherwise you're going to keep making them worse. But the only way to get better at them is doing volume, so you have to do the right amount. How many reps can you do correctly out of 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can only do 3, then you probably don't need to do more than 10 reps. Like it's like one of those things, like also have a coach there, helpful, but
Yeah.
starting out smaller volume of good reps and then increasing and following along with what Pat just said.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think once you get into like the density stuff, there's a lot of like sports specific stuff. That's the fun stuff, and that's the sports specific stuff, like pairing it with double unders and grip deadlifts and all sorts of just stuff that you would see in CrossFit becomes
Great
the fun
one,
part.
ski and toe to bar.
Yeah, yeah. More compression.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, compression volume. So
Toes to bar and bar facing burpees.
that's
To
the
me
wor-
is
yeah,
literally the
that's
worst
so
thing ever.
bad.
Toe to bar, burpee box get overs, and GHD sit ups.
You could-
Honestly, handstand push-ups and burpee box get-overs.
Anything with your hip flexors being really active.
just messed up. Yeah. Yeah, I think so I think, that's to put it simply is like fix your quality of movement. Once your quality of movement's good, build some volume. Once your volume's good, build some density and a sports specific pattern that you need, and then bring the intensity in some sort of tester for the sport. So okay. What's the best mindset / philosophy to have when you feel like you aren't progressing, beating yourself up about workouts?
Why are you not progressing?
Or I mean, I think you have to start there.
That's for real. Like that was
Yeah.
somewhat sarcastic, but at the same time, why are you not progressing?
Right.
And because if you can find out that problem,
You'll start progressing.
you'll start progressing,
Yeah.
and then you won't be sad about it.
Yeah. I think sometimes, though, a lot of that, when we talked about this on the last podcast, needs to be introspective. And are you training hard enough?
Right.
Are you training enough? Are you doing everything you can to get better in the gym?
Right.
And if you, sans burnout, if you answer yes to all of that, then maybe you need to look at trying out a new training stimulus.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like that it has to be the first. That's the first thing you do. Is you ask,
Yeah.
like, why am I not progressing?
Yeah.
Because the mentality, like, okay, so your mentality to directly answer that question needs to be introspective, and you need to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
That's the mentality you have to have first.
Yeah.
And then decide, okay, is it on me, or is it on the program, or is it on what are the factors that are going into it, and decide what that is.
And I think too, like there's always, there's a multitude of different factors. Like, could it be, could it be the coach that you have? Are you not getting coaching? Could that be a factor to it? But I think at the end of the day, that like, are you not trying hard enough in your workouts? Like, there's always something you could be doing, regardless of the program that you're on, to be progressing. And that might even include adding more volume into the program that you're on.
And then one other point that almost is like a devil's advocate to that is, are you sure you're not progressing?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I'm not progressing, and they truly actually are.
Yeah.
And what progress are you looking at?
Yeah.
So another perspective to that question, because sometimes we can get caught up in
That's
like
true.
the straight day-to-day thing instead of like the big picture. And like
Yeah.
maybe you are progressing, you just have no idea. Or also maybe you're at the end of a training cycle, you're just getting beat shit, and then when you take a week off, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm so much better.
Yeah,
That's another thing. But
I also think like that one I think is big inside of CrossFitters, and really what they're trying to figure out is, why am I not progressing faster?
right.
And that comes back to like, is your recovery on point? Are you eating enough? And then everything else we just talked about, like, because the body will only adapt at the rate the body will adapt to.
Right.
And like, you can continue to adapt it with different things, but the stressors that you put in your body will adapt to those stressors. So if you have a crazy, chaotic outside life, you're probably not going to be making a lot of progress in the gym. So, you have something to add on?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, if that's true, you have to ask yourself if you've given yourself enough time to actually get better.
Yeah.
Because it's not linear.
Right.
Always. It sometimes is. But then that's where like you get into program hopping.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so rampant in CrossFit, I think, is because people are expecting a 4-week or a 6-week or an 8-week block to like change everything. Really,
Yeah.
it's like
You're
you need to
talking
give it-
years.
yeah, you need to give it more time than that.
Right.
You need to have the ability to zoom out. So like it's not linear, but like when you zoom out far enough, it looks linear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you're gonna see these small dips and waves and things, but like if you were to zoom out like on a stock graph to
I was
20
literally
years,
just thinking about that.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's either going up or it's going down, right? Like
Right,
it's
right.
easy to see. You don't get to see all the minute little steps,
Yeah.
but then you zoom in on it, and like sometimes you can get lost in the sauce.
Right. Yeah. I think people focus too much on the day-to-day, and they forget to look back at like 3 months ago, 6 months
Right.
ago, and like how far you've come if you are genuinely being consistent on a training program,
Right.
how far you've come, and like the gains that you've made inside of that period. But the other thing too is like, it does suck because you're making differences on a 3 to 6 month timetable, and like, your career in the sport is only 10 years. So what is that, like up to 20 like stages of like progression?
Right.
So it's not like, that should maybe like help people put that into perspective more. Like on a 10-year period, you're probably only increasing your performance levels like 20 times throughout the course
Right.
of your career. So it's not something that just comes, naturally, right? Or like, and right off the bat, like you got to work for it, and you got to take the time to get there. So do you have anything else on that? Or?
No, that's good.
Okay. How do you build confidence in your training so when you have to perform, you stay confident with your abilities?
I mean, I personally think that's pretty simple. Have a plan of what you do in training, execute that plan
Yeah.
consistently, and then you can do that when you go into a competition. And then also be okay with knowing, like, here's my typical consistency. Let's test the waters before you go to a competition and find out what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
And when you know that, when you are confident in what you know you can or cannot do, and you've had a consistency of to make it simple, like how do you break up a workout that's a big chip, like not a chipper, whatever. You break up a workout that's consistent. What rep schemes do you do? What do you know you're capable of? And then now, like, that's just as easy to execute it into a competition. What can you do and when can you not do? So if you don't test, like, there's different ways, but like how many toes to bar can I do in 5 minutes, or how many can I do unbroken? Like if you don't have some metrics to go off of, you're not going to be able to build confidence. You have to know what you can or cannot do.
Right. You have something like that?
I had a thought, but I don't know if it was. I've done it a couple of times, but basically trying to make it harder than it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's literally infinite examples, but you know, I don't know, if you had to do like 10 snatches for time at, you know, 155 or something like that, and that's your event, just example, you know, do it at 160 in training and just make it a little bit harder. Not crazy where it's not the same stimulus, but make it a little harder so that when you do a bike sprint before it or something, just to make it more challenging so that when you go out there, you have the thought of like, oh, like I did a way harder version of this.
I did this at 160 pounds. Like I'm gonna be able to send this.
Yeah. So having like your training to back you up.
Right. Yeah, and you know, I think I'd look at this a little bit more like, and this is why I think having a coach is so important. Is like your coach knows you pretty well. And so they'll write stuff that is going to give you confidence in going into a competition or just throughout your training. Like sometimes they'll test you, and like sometimes you won't meet expectations for a given workout. But we need to find out where your abilities are at. So that's where, you know, like you're talking about pushing to your abilities. But also most of the time in training, they're going to give you stuff that you're capable of doing and build your confidence along the way. They're not going to give you like, and this is kind of the qualm with like group programs, is they're not going to give you 100 upper body pulling contractions when you should probably be sticking to like 50 to 75 upper body pulling contractions in a training session. And so I think the more like small wins you have in training, the more confident you're going to be with your abilities, and the more small wins you have, the better you're going to know your ability levels. To your point, Griffin. So yeah, I think all of that is a pretty good like sum up of
a cohesive thought that should help fix that.
Yeah. Okay. How do you know how to identify or prioritize your weaknesses without losing progress in other areas?
Well, I mean, identifying what you're weak at is pretty simple. What do you suck at?
Yeah.
Like, what are you not good at?
Yeah.
So this is asking how to get better at one thing and not lose everything else.
Right.
Well, I think that is the beauty of like adding some kind of the like some aspect of the CrossFit methodology into it, which is constantly varied. So if you're always getting touches, like if you have a good coach, you should be getting touches on more than what you're just working on if you want to get better at the sport, right? So you like they might not have linear progressions on them, but there is some things that are peppered in there with other things. Like we've been working on my ring muscle up capacity. So we've been doing ring muscle ups every week, but we're also doing kind of random stuff with it to add a stimulus to what we're working on. So
like, I mean, a good like example is like you went to beach brawl and you weren't like in CrossFit shape, but
at
you
all.
were better like than you've been.
Yeah.
And just from the touches of things and working on those weaknesses that were going to show up.
Yeah. I think this is a little bit more of like an art form for the coach as well, and like figuring out how to dose things without wrecking the individual so that they're continuing to work on or adapt to the linear progressions that you're making for them. Do you guys have any like specific examples of that or that you've been doing recently with people? Or
I mean, my Friday AMRAPs have basically been
consistent domains
where it's like 4 2-minute AMRAPs, 2 minutes of rest. Earlier this week it was 15 cal bike, 20 unbroken chest to bar, max sandbag squats on the shoulder in remaining time. Terrible.
Yeah, it does sound pretty bad.
It was really. I'm telling you, dude. I was on the floor of that gym for like 30 minutes, dude. I was done. But
it's only 8 minutes of work.
Oh my god, dude, it was so bad.
8 minutes of death.
Good stuff.
But like every week's kind of been like that. But it's just been a blend of movements that. Like, I haven't done chest bar in a while, but I got a really good touch on 80 chest to bar in that workout. Didn't have to, like, you're not crushing yourself with the movement. You're just getting a touch on it to, like, stay.
Well, like, it's an example, like, okay, 80 chest to bar. Like, you'll see a workout, you might have 135 chest to bar in, right?
Right.
And we don't have to test that with the amount of intensity of the short domain that you did, plus because of the combination of things that we were working on, right? And your capacity on, like, your chest to bar is really solid still. We only touch on it. Right, like so.
Yeah.
But that's also because of the ring muscle up work, that explosive
Yeah.
pulling contraction or bar muscle ups.
Yeah.
I've always found, especially in that specific and sense, is like if you, again, like you said, train a little harder. Yes, it's a slightly different gymnastic movement, but you're having to work harder pulling wise.
Yeah.
And I've always found like if I do ring muscle ups and bar muscle ups, that it absolutely translates directly into my chest to bar.
I have a good thing on this is I've been asked the question of, hey, I want to get better at my squatting. Why are you having me, bench press, or like I'm trying to get better at doing like 80% power snatches. Why are you having me do deadlifts and power cleans or whatever, right? And I always think of it as like a movement web.
Yeah.
And every single movement is connected to another movement in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And they all flow into each other and
Yeah.
will help each other. And then there's also what's called general organism strength.
Correct.
So like if you are very weak at bench press, it sounds stupid, but getting better at benching will in some way transfer over to other movements.
Yeah.
Like squatting.
Correct. It's
Yeah.
how
Or
your
whatever,
body
and it works the
adapts.
other way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just general organism strength. Getting stronger in one area makes you better in another area
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
If it's really lagging behind.
Right. Right. Well, I think some of that too is just goes to like there's a lot of people that don't have great just trunk strength in general, and
Yeah.
like because I put that Incendia gym through a bench press cycle, and all of their front squats PR'd because
Yeah.
they all had stronger front racks and stronger just stronger trunks in general.
Yeah. Well, front squat also. Yeah, front squat is one of the number one main lifts that will increase immediately if you just train core work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 And I think it becomes like I mean, you could probably honestly do like a whole podcast on how to find the small, minute details of making somebody better, and like a lot of it is also individualized to the athlete and what they're doing, without making them worse in other areas. And it goes back to like coaching is an art form, and figuring out the athlete that you're working with, what they respond well to, how do you dose things that they don't, or how do you dose those things that they respond well to in a format that isn't going to crush or like be debilitating for them, like Pat's, chest to bar pull-ups, but in small touches that keep them kind of fresh in the sport at the things that they're good at, while continuing to work on the things that they need the touches at. And I think that is a lot. It's an art form, and like it takes time, and you have to observe people over time periods to get really good at it. And so like, if you're a new coach coming in, asking questions to another coach about like, hey, I'm looking to do this. What would you recommend pairing with this? Or like, how do you add in maintenance work for this? Is probably like kind of the route that you want to go down if you're like looking for a true answer of this, and just getting a bunch of different coaches' opinions and bringing set examples to somebody will help you learn more than kind of just asking this question, because there is a lot of like nuance to this question. So hopefully that answers that.
Yeah.
So okay. What are some good tactics for turning negative self-talk into positive self-talk, or avoiding negative self-talk in general during training, qualifiers, comps, especially, etc., especially when the workout really hurts? Do you read that?
Yeah.
I think the big question is how do you switch negative self-talk to positive self-talk?
I think you can use negative self-talk in a positive way. It's just how you...
So would that technically still be positive self-talk?
Right.
Ooh.
Well, because like I've done it before where it's like, all right, if I do an interval for something that's for a competition, or like it doesn't even have to be something like I'm just training before a competition. I'm like, okay, I have to push hard here so I don't fucking embarrass myself. If I'm thinking about it sometimes when I'm doing something, like if I don't start pushing harder right now, I'm going to embarrass myself this weekend. So it makes me go harder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of negative self-talk, but it's also using it like, oh, I'm going to fuck, if I don't push hard, I'm going to fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could flip it and not maybe, you might not be able to stop the negative thoughts, but you can use them.
in a more positive way,
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know. If you,
and like in a motivating way almost.
yeah.
Maybe not like a positive way, but a motivating
Because
way.
you're actively working on the thing that you're afraid of happening in
Yeah.
a sense, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
But like if you're just feeling sorry for yourself, that's different. Where you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm just so like, I suck. I'm gonna suck.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, I'm gonna work hard so that I don't fucking suck.
Yeah.
Right? Like I
Right.
don't know. If you're just feeling sorry for yourself, then I don't think.
Anything's gonna snap you out of it, or like it's not.
Well,
You can't
feeling
use
sorry for
negative.
yourself harder isn't gonna
Yeah.
isn't gonna help. But
Right.
maybe you could try to like reframe some of those things and then repeat them to yourself, even though it's really annoying. And
So reframing to start would be like
Yeah.
one tool.
and then forcing yourself to think a thought when you're really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's where you can like. This is a David Goggins said this, but he's like you can
So hard.
I know you can reprogram, but it's true. Like you can reprogram your brain.
Yeah.
But I do believe that you can't do it when you're comfortable. So I can't sit here and be like, when I get really uncomfortable in a workout, and if I usually feel sorry for myself, be like, I'm just not going to this time.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point, you know, we all change when we really start to hurt,
Right.
right? So like when you really start to hurt, that's when you need to start implementing the reframing.
Yeah. But do
Um,
you not have to do that? Like figure that out while you're comfortable though?
Yeah, like come up with a plan to do that, but
Okay.
then just know that it's only going to change. It's only going to actually change when you're actually
When
in
you're
it,
actually in it.
My opinion.
Yeah. And David Goggins' opinion.
Yeah, but like I have caught myself doing that a couple times in workouts where I'm like, no. Like when you're like really uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and you start slacking,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a bitch, and then you're like, wait a minute, stop it, you're a savage, let's go.
Yeah,
and then you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like,
Yeah. I've reframed things though, like what you're talking about, like negative to positive, like making sure that you're not being a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And like pushing yourself to,
Yeah.
to not do that. But yeah, what do you got?
That's a very detailed and long question, to be honest. So I'll keep it short. It depends on where you're coming from in the sense of like what state are you in? Did you grow up having a like negative self-talk your entire life, or is it kind of like just in certain areas? Okay, that's a certain basic question that you need to know. But ultimately, the simplest first thing you can do is this is where I'm not arguing what David Goggins is saying. He's right. Like there is a point of true change that has to be made. But essentially, like there's a foot in the door technique that you can kind of do. And it's essentially like you get a little bit, right? So like, okay, let's start with a workout that isn't that difficult. And you're going to practice talking to yourself. What are you going to say to yourself? Before the workout starts, what are you saying to yourself? Everyone's is different. Like I have certain things that I make Stella repeat in your brain and see what works, what doesn't work. But I start with workouts that aren't that hard. There might be a small hard part somewhere in there, right? And we're just working, but our work is on our brain, not the workout itself. And then I progress that and be like, all right, we're gonna make this harder. And what are you gonna say to yourself? And I'm gonna the next time again, same thing, and repeat and repeat and repeat. And then finally, by that time, okay, now we're in a really hard workout. You should be. Normally, when I start, I choose something that like, I'll use Stella again. I'll choose something that she's pretty good at, and make her keep repeating that. And then like let's say that was phase 1 of the cycle of my mentality training for her. Well, now we're gonna do something that she's not good at.
Yeah.
And we've been working on training that. Well, how are we going to talk to ourselves on those things that aren't good for us or those are tough? And you need to start being like, well, wow, like I am better at it. So now what are you going to say to yourself? It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's building you to believe in yourself that you've gotten better at whatever that is. And then now that you have that belief in yourself, that should continue that snowball effect. Or the foot in the door effect, like I gave a little bit and like I'm in, so now I can keep opening that door. I can keep moving forward and it's going to continue to grow. And then from there on, and like now it's okay, every workout I approach, what am I talking to myself? How am I, and you've naturally all of a sudden created this environment for your brain that you're like, your first thought is to literally like talk well to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, fuck, this workout's gonna suck. I'm bad at this. Like it's like, oh, this is an opportunity. I'm gonna get better at it.
Yeah.
Right. So it really depends. It's helpful again right here to have like a coach in that sense of how to break through something like that. But I would always suggest specifically with people, for the majority of people, starting out with something you're good at, practice talking to yourself, practice it, and then get into something harder and continue that, because it is a choice. And there's a point where like shit's hard and you get hit in the face. What are you going to do? Right. So.
Yeah. I think like to your point, Griff, there's like definitely you have to meet the person where they're at, because there's a lot of people. I mean, I've seen a lot of athletes that can't even have positive self-talk without being in a stressed out state at all. So it's like you kind of have to meet them where they're at, and like if they're having trouble just even saying nice things to themselves, like from the get-go, you're like, that's square one. Not even doing it in a workout, just like literally saying nice things to yourself, square one.
I mean, because you can do things outside of workouts.
Right.
You can't create positive fake environments. I mean, you can, but like the live, laugh, love signs everywhere, guys. No.
I
Please.
definitely don't. No, I don't have one of those.
No. But okay, like okay,
That'd
like
be wild.
okay,
Yeah, right.
it would be wild. Like 1's fine. 2, I'm a little questioning. 3, I'm super questioning. 4, I gotta leave the house. Like, but sometimes like there's like it's everywhere. And my question to that person, like this is for real. Like I'll look, be like, do you have to remind yourself that?
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing? Like, are you always that upset that you have to have those? Which, again, if that's the case, okay, got it. So like, let's be introspective about it and be like, why is it that? Why am I so negative about things that I need that reminder? Because it is important to create an environment that you can build that mentality from. But if that's just lying to yourself and just sitting there, you know, like, okay, why don't you start listening to positive self-talk podcasts or people or athletes you have like grown up watching, and kind of like listen to how they approach things and start taking on some of those habits, and those habits will turn into what you want.
That's how I think. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, it goes back to the stacking wins.
Yeah.
Is a good way to do it. It's just like literally always trying to find like, oh, I did get better at this small thing today, and just finding wins.
Yeah. I think one big thing that is lost recently is copycatting athletes' mentalities, and I don't know if it's necessarily maybe because Brady's kind of phased out, and like I think hot take, LeBron James has one of the worst fucking mentalities in great sport greatness, but you know, Kobe, Jordan, like those were examples kids could like look at. And I think for, you know, women, Serena is a great example of somebody who's got a good head on their shoulders in regards to competing, and going and finding everything you can, all their interviews, all their books, whatever podcast they might have done, and just listening to how they talk about the sport and then trying to mimic how they talk about their sport is, I think, a great way to build a good competitive mindset. And, you know, you'll find different avenues or different tools along that path that help you out a little bit more relative to the way that they think about it, because even mindset is a unique approach to being great at something, but it helps to see the people who have already been there.
Yeah, for sure. What you got to say over there?
No, nothing.
Right.
I just like UFC fighters for that.
That mentality, or
like Chael Sonnen, and specifically like Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor, of course.
Oh, McGregor's great, yeah.
But I've always liked the half serious, very sarcastic thing.
Yeah.
Because Chael Sonnen will still say he's undefeated. Like, he's never lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's never lost a round.
Okay.
It's like a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot.
But
I don't know. It's like doesn't get like too hard on himself about
a loss.
Outwardly, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, what does he think of it? Like, I haven't ever lost a round. There's just not enough time.
Well,
is that how he frames it in his brain?
I don't remember exactly how it was, but it's like when he fought Anderson Silva the last time, he won the first 2 rounds because it was a 5-round thing. He won the first 2 rounds, and then he tapped in the 3rd round at the end of the 3rd round, and he basically was like, jokingly, oh, I didn't realize me tapping stopped the fight. I thought I just lost that round and I was still up.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know, like just stuff like that.
He just finds a different.
Finds a way to win
Yeah.
in his
yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that was fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's whatever you got to do to make sure you're performing at your best, and it's going to be different for everyone. Like he's going to make sure that he's won everything in his mind, right? And some people just hate losing so much that they're going to find a way to win. And if they don't, they're going to figure out a way to never make that happen again. So it's very unique to everybody in regards to how to develop that. But I think looking at athletes, great athletes, is a good starting point, at least. Okay. I think we have some fun questions now. Do you guys want to? Well, wait. Let's do this one, and then we'll go rapid fire on the fun ones. How do you not compare your progress to others while also using those around you to push in training?
I mean, that just comes down to your mindset again. It's about understanding what is your ceiling, what is your capacity, what is your best self. Okay, and then you need to define what you think that looks like, because you may still not even be right about it. You may be a higher self than what you think you can be, or lower. I don't know. I tend to think, for the most part, unless you're delusional, there is more room to grow than you think you have. But first define that. And then once you have that, be like, okay, this is where I want to be. And then now surround yourself with other people that are better than you in those areas, and be like, this is how I'm going to get closer to that goal. And when you're looking at it from that perspective, you're looking at these people as like training partners, or even if they're not in your training facility and somewhere else, you're looking at like, this is what the capability is, and this is where I could be there, right? So how do I get there? I'm going to keep mimicking and watching and seeing the ways that they attack these things, and just try to get an inch closer every day. And if you keep doing that, then you're not looking at necessarily competing with them. You're competing within yourself to get where they're at.
Yeah. I think it's definitely hard, and I think the biggest thing is not taking your name on a leaderboard as like yourself. Your name on the leaderboard it just exists, and it's only there to show you things that you can work on to get better and climb that leaderboard. Is winning fun? 100%. It's probably one of the greatest feelings in the world. But in this sport, there's going to be very few times that you fucking win.
I don't know. Griffin just started smiling at me.
Oh, okay. So when you're in a training environment, you need to understand that everybody is there to make everybody else better, so that they themselves can also get better.
Yep.
And that's kind of some of the culture that we're trying to cultivate here, is making sure that everybody is focused on everybody else's improvement, because ultimately that's going to lead to your improvement.
Yep.
And then when you get into leaderboards and competitions and stuff like that, like you're just, all that is an opportunity for you to improve on something or find something else to improve on, because ultimately the journey is never done in progressing and getting better. And so you're just going to find new things that you have to get better at, and then, like you're saying, find the people that are better than you at those things, go train with them, and just try and see what they're doing to get 1% better at those things every time you train with them.
Yeah, there's no room for insecurity or jealousy, essentially, in this. Like, you can't have that.
Yeah. I mean, that's an easy way to stall your progress, too.
Yeah, I mean, immediately. I mean, that's right there. Like, that's because that, like, if you have that, then that means you are comparing yourself to others in the wrong way.
Well,
like,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you should have comparison to others.
Yeah.
But you need to define what you feel like your ceiling can be and where you're at. So you can't have, you have to, again, you have to be introspective, look at yourself, and be able to really define like where you can be, where you're at. And you also can ask for other people's like opinion that you trust,
right,
on where they think you can be and where you are at, to kind of help with that.
Yeah.
But it's just like markers. You need markers to see where you should aim for.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, for actually competing, I feel like I have it flipped. But for competing, I'm always like beach brawl. I'm always competing against myself. even at those because I always know like I'm only gonna go as fast as I can
Mm-hmm.
because I know I always do my best. So like I'm literally just gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna do me, and
Yeah.
then whatever like wherever my time falls, it falls is always my
Yep.
my headspace with that stuff. But I don't know how correct that is. But then with training, I always look at like people who are way better than me as
Mhm.
like the standard in my mind. And I'd be like, that's where I want to get. Like
Yeah.
they are the standard. And then, okay, how do I get there? Well, I always have like for weightlifting right now, I always think of specific numbers that I want to dominate.
Mhm.
So like for right now with like clean and jerk, right? Like 315 is my bitch. Like
Mhm.
I've made that weight my bitch. I can do whatever I want with it. If it ever pops up, I can destroy it. So in training, if there's ever any kind of thing that comes my way, like I'm always gonna try and just hit it at that weight so I can conquer it. And that's like a rung in like the ladder.
Yeah.
So then next it's 320. I want that to be that
Mhm.
new bitch weight.
Mhm.
And conquer that one as hard as I can. And those are just ladders bringing you closer to like whoever the standard is
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a video on that actually yesterday.
Did you?
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
But
Wait, where'd you post it?
no, I haven't posted it. It's
oh,
on
okay.
my phone.
Oh, nice.
But
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That on like that's great. And that gives you an idea of where to strive for. But at some point in time, you also have to be the one setting the standard if you're going to be great at something.
Yeah.
Or even your best self. Like there's always people that are going to be chasing you, and so if you're comparing yourself to others all the time, inadvertently you might be limiting your abilities to express your capacity because you're like, oh, I only need to be as good as this. When in reality, it's like you can be much better than that if you aren't worrying about what somebody else is doing. So I think there's like kind of like a fine line to look at other people and see what they're doing so that you can progress slowly towards that. And then you limiting yourself by what those people are doing mentally, if that makes sense.
For every person you're chasing, there's just as many chasing you.
Yeah.
So if you're not chasing your best self, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If only dating was that way. But
Could be.
It could be. Okay. You guys want
zombies.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to just run through these fun ones really quick?
Send it.
All right. What exercise would you pick to do the rest of your life if you could only pick one?
Ooh.
I'm doing thrusters.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's an
kinda.
old school Froning throwback, but
It's the smartest out of every movement, but I'm
Mhm.
picking cleans in general.
yeah, I mean that would probably keep you healthier than thrusters, right?
Right. The only thing is I don't have to press, but I'm still at least having to pull with those muscle groups.
Yeah.
And I can squat, I can power.
What if you have to clean the thruster though?
I mean, right.
Well,
that's why I
what
said
was thinking.
Right.
Does
That's
the
why I
cluster
said it's
count?
the smartest
Push press.
choice because you get all of it.
And then you can just
You get a pull, you get a squat, and you get a
fail
press.
your presses all the time and get a bunch of
True,
squat
true,
volume.
true. Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing, yeah. I mean, if I like, smartest choice is a thruster from the ground, but if I'm being personal, like I'm just going to do a clean.
Cleans are fun.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. You were a thruster too, right?
I'm thinking thruster too, just because I feel like you get kind of everything.
Okay, so if you choose that though, does that mean you can't run anywhere for the rest of your life? You have to walk no matter what?
Depends
I
if
could
you
do cleans every day.
classify walking as exercise, because then you might have to be in a little.
Oh, you might have to Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What is your limiting factor? I'll tell you right now, mine's being soft and out of shape.
Well, I don't. In what area? What's our limiting factor? In what?
We'll just go with exercising on this one.
Okay.
CrossFit specific.
I hate this answer is really such a cop out, but it's real. It is real. My weight right now, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Which again, blood work done, telling me why it is. There's an issue. So, but yeah, weight. When everyone's like, "Oh, get stronger," you don't. Bro, I'm too strong. Like we're at that extreme. I need my weight to go back down.
What's my limiting factor, coach?
It's actually getting erased slowly. Is your ability to develop fast twitch?
Yeah,
Right.
Ooh.
It's slowly getting eradicated.
absolutely genocided.
I mean, it's true because that limited it limited your motor patterns and how exposed you could be in a lot of things, and your ceiling was like lower.
Yeah,
And we rebuilt it, and now your ceiling went up here. So I think that was what it is, and it's not really as much anymore.
yeah.
It's always fun when you find new limitations.
Yeah.
All right.
Really do be.
What is your favorite moment in history?
Ooh,
This
God.
comes along with try not to get canceled.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering. I figured that makes sense. Damn. I don't know.
All right. Well,
Well, then
do you have something?
favorite moment, that means I have to at least somewhat witnessed it, or
That's what I was thinking.
You
know what
think
I
you
mean?
have to witness it?
you don't. But
No,
how
but-
can it be your favorite moment in history if you weren't there? You know what I mean? Like you can say something from
But that would basically be like saying nothing exists unless it's in your reality.
Is that true though? Because how's the future exist if we're not even there yet? It's not in our reality.
Well, how does the past exist
I don't know.
outside
Tell me.
of your
You
reality?
tell me.
It technically does.
You tell me. Where's it recorded?
Fair. I mean, the internet does a pretty good job now.
Or there is no past or present or future. There's only
What?
like a flat.
You said there's
disk
no present.
void of what
There has to be a
we're
present.
in right now.
What is that flat disk void?
I don't know.
So are we gonna answer this? Or?
I don't know. I don't know how to
Dude,
answer it.
I don't.
Frickin'
There are only bad things that have come to my mind, and I
dude,
know it's the same thing. for
The,
this
the one
man.
that popped into my head immediately, and it's not my favorite, but it's when those Japanese ships sunk in the Pacific, and they all 3,000 people got eaten by sharks.
What?
You know what I'm talking about? It's like
Wait, wasn't that American ships?
oh yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was us.
That was
It was
us.
That was our guys.
Yeah.
That was our
No.
guys.
When was this in the
Yeah,
World
no.
War II.
If you look up it's
Yeah.
like it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest.
It was it had to be around World War II.
Yeah.
It was the biggest catastrophe of animal on human
Yeah, it was,
fatalities in
crazy.
history. Yeah.
They basically stopped. I think it was the Japanese sunk the ships, and then they just patrolled around, the people in the water, and just literally let the sharks eat them. They
Yeah.
didn't even shoot them; they just let the sharks eat them.
Classic Japanese, dude.
Classic.
The
Dude, human
Japanese,
sushi.
they got it back because they
Yeah.
had the alligator thing happen to them in the Philippines. A bunch of Japanese soldiers got eaten by alligators.
Oh, for real?
Like a lot.
That's
cool.
favorite
That
moment
happened
in
too.
history.
There's also the Soviet version that I just saw where they had to declare a ceasefire in World War I
To go kill the wolves.
To kill
right?
the wolves. 'cause
Yeah.
the wolves were
yeah,
killing everybody.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animals be trifling.
I heard a story about a dude who was in a foxhole in Vietnam and was he heard something rustling, and all of a sudden he got snatched out of his foxhole and dragged down a hill by a gorilla
What?
and got the shit beat out of him.
Damn.
Yeah.
He survived?
He survived
That's
somehow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Kyle's is Vietnam.
No, mine's actually the skull pyramid that Genghis Khan built out of dead people.
That is pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, or the sacking of Baghdad. That was pretty sick too. But probably not the best human being in the world.
I don't know. I really don't know. Mine are wars, but I can't think of which one, to be honest.
The Crusade. The first
No.
one. The third
Dude,
one.
honestly,
fifth one.
so
the
like
seventh one.
one of the coolest stories though, it was embellished, but is the Battle of Thermopylae, which is 300. Obviously, the movie they really did up, but
Yeah.
there really was 300 people, and they fought over 1 million people. They didn't win, but the way they did it, dude, they beat
balled
the
out.
shit
Yeah.
out of the Persians
Yeah.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
And the only reason they did end up losing is because one of their fucking one of the guys did turn them fucking in and told them about the past behind.
Defected and turned him about the
Yeah,
path.
it wasn't the fucking creature.
It was
dude.
Quasimodo.
No.
It wasn't
It wasn't
Quasimodo.
Quasimodo.
But like, but that I mean that did happen, and like that's the only reason they ended up getting surrounded. But otherwise, they would have fucking just held off, which is it's fucking crazy.
They would have ate.
So are we about to start a history podcast? Because I think we talked about this question for 10 minutes.
We could.
I mean, it was like a history / almost conspiracy situation.
Oh, yeah, because you were talking about time not existing.
Yeah. But that was in the past.
Oh,
my
was
fa-
it?
Doesn't exist. So
What's
I
my
didn't think-
favorite moment in history?
Yeah.
None, because time isn't real.
my favorite moment in history is
Fired.
Pat talking about that.
Damn.
All right, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas
Ooh.
movie or a Halloween movie?
Okay.
That's actually a tough question.
It's
to be
not.
honest. It's not
What is
either.
I have a very strong opinion on this one.
But
Okay,
then
what is
it's
it?
not what.
I've never
It's a
seen it.
Christmas movie.
Okay.
And only
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
when you look at a story, right? Remember in like English class in like elementary school, you would structure a story with like the plot, the rising action,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the theme. The theme of Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas theme. Like it's about It's about like the themes of Christmas. It's not like a Halloween themed movie. If that makes sense. Like the
When did it come out?
1990s?
What time frame?
99 or something or 90 whatever.
What time frame?
That's a good question. When
Like,
it,
did
when
it
it was
come
released,
out-
that's the answer. That's
Yeah, that's
actually
the
the
answer.
When was it released?
Yeah, look that up.
Because I would argue what you're saying, Pat, is because the revelation at the end is that Jack the Skeleton King decides and finds out he's like, actually, what we do is what we're supposed to be, what we do, which is Halloween, and that's what the best is. So then, like, it ends up actually wrapping up into still a Halloween movie. It starts as a Halloween movie and ends as one.
Should I watch this movie?
I mean,
Or is it
I
too
like
late?
it. I do like it.
Is it too late?
No,
Okay,
no.
maybe I'll try it.
They fucking steal Santa. There's an Oogie Boogie Man.
Okay, maybe I'll try and watch it.
It's crazy.
If you, while Pat's looking that up, if you could fight any cartoon character,
Ooh.
who would you fight?
Who? Damn.
I'd fight Superman because Superman's the worst
You would
superhero.
lose, though.
No, I have Kryptonite.
Okay.
Fucking
Where'd you get it
lame
from?
ass superhero.
You
Lex
steal it-
Luthor.
I was going to say, steal it from Lex Luthor. There we go. All right. Yeah, honestly, though, that's a great choice to fight. Damn, I would have rather...
It was released October 29th.
It's a
It's a
Halloween
Halloween
movie.
But
Italian movie.
No, you're on Reddit right now.
I know.
No,
but-
get the fuck off of that shit.
dude, I just
No,
disagrees
no,
with my
no,
point.
Yeah, but
no,
it ends
no,
in a Halloween. It ends
No,
with
it was
Jack.
released 2 days before Halloween.
Yeah,
It's a
But
Halloween
it
movie.
ends with Santa
Look up-
Claus
look
saving
up
Christmas.
when Die Hard was
No,
released.
it's Jack that saves it.
No, apparently it's Santa Claus. According to this
No,
person on Reddit.
Jack saved everybody.
What
Remember he got blown out of the sky? He was trying to be
Die Hard
Santa
1?
and then realized
Yeah,
he
Die
shouldn't
Hard
be?
1. I think it was released on Christmas.
Die
it
Hard's
was
a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
July 22nd.
It's a Christmas
It's a
movie.
Christmas movie.
Ju-
It doesn't,
July.
It doesn't work.
So then
in
the
this
other thing
situation.
doesn't mean anything. Ah.
Okay.
Wait, what was the last question? I missed
Cartoon character. Who would you fight?
it. I asked that. That's Amanda wrote that.
Oh.
Bubbles from Powderpuff
Damn,
Girls.
Bubbles.
Just beat the shit out of Bubbles.
Fair.
Dude, honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this while
All
this
right.
is going on.
All right, we'll do one more here and then wrap it up. What's the weirdest thing you've ever done at a guest's house? I literally don't know.
I literally don't do shit at people's
I know
houses.
I'm like super polite.
Yeah, I'm overly polite. I
Okay,
won't
hold
eat.
on, hold on.
I won't eat their food.
Okay,
You're
have
like,
you-
off me and I won't eat
Have
it.
you guys had anything weird happen at your house?
Ooh.
I mean, I did something to a guest at our house that wasn't the greatest. I threw a flashlight at their head and they had to go to the emergency room and get
Sick.
stitches.
Oh, well, this counts. One of my best friends growing up, who was just an antagonist beyond belief, was at our house, and my brother was there. He's insane at the same time. And this guy obviously is known for being an antagonist. Well, he would fucks with you, and my brother was, I don't know, maybe 6 at the time. I'm
Yeah.
like 10. And No, he's got a little older than that. He might, whatever. My brother's under 10 years old, and he has like a really strong airsoft pistol.
Hell yeah.
And, yeah, right. And he knows this about my friend, and he's getting in that mode. And my brother was like, "Do not fucking move. If you come any closer to me, I'm shooting you with this thing." And of course, like, what does this kid do? He fucking moves and he pulls the trigger. He still has a scar here because it's a relatively strong one.
Yeah.
Turns into all-out war, and ends up like we had. My parents going to jail. Kidding, it's too late now. There's a machete in the garage, which my friend ended up finding, and my brother like had run around with like a BB gun or whatever. And I had nothing, and it turned into fighting me, and I ended up running off the back of my hot tub, like jumped off because we had a deck that went all the way out, and then like a gazebo with a hot tub, and I jumped off the back, and I was like, "Fuck!" I'm in the woods in my backyard, have no idea what to do, and the back of like an electrical panel is like a square piece of thin metal was off. So I picked it up. I was like, what am I going to do with this? He's a solid 15 to 20 yards away from me, and he's sprinting at me. I was like, fuck it. And I threw it like a Frisbee.
Oh, shit.
And, dude, if he didn't move,
Cut him
it
in
was
half?
stuck in his leg.
Yeah,
Cut his
dude.
leg open, dude.
Oh, when he moved, it went by him and cut
And cut his leg open.
Damn.
Yeah, he was pissed because his jeans were like $250, and I was like, "What a bitch for wearing $250
Oh,
jeans in
jeans.
middle
Yeah,
school, bro."
sus.
Yeah, sus, right. But yeah, I guess that's probably the craziest thing of a guest getting absolutely diced.
Diced at the house.
I did a lot of weird shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
but-
you would do weird shit.
Yeah. I like mess around with stuff, like
You'd
so that
like
they would
move it and
find it and be like, "What the hell?"
oh,
The only thing I can think of was I don't know why I'm thinking about this. I don't know if I should share this.
yeah,
one.
share it. It's too late.
No, it's not that crazy. It's just when I was playing rugby, we basically broke into our friend's house
Yeah.
before he got home, and he had a really cool bedroom, and it had like one of those useless balconies off of it, and we had one of those like Home Depot buckets in a half of a gallon jug, and we were doing gravity bongs. So we decided it'd be funny if we all just got really uncomfortably high and just hung out in his room until he got home without him knowing.
I think that's the answer people were looking for out of this entire question.
And I remember sitting on his couch, and I don't tolerate. I'm very sensitive to THC. I hate it. But I took it was absurd. It was like a huge ratchet piece basically at the top of the gallon jug.
Yeah.
And it's just you're smoking like 4 grams at a time. It's really terrible. But anyway, I was sitting on my friend's couch waiting, and I saw like I felt like a giant cut the roof off and like pulled the roof off of the house and was like looking at all of us sitting in there. And I was like looking at myself from a third point of view.
Yeah.
Third person view.
You were pretty high.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I don't even remember him coming home.
Oh, okay.
He never did.
I don't
Yeah.
know if this counts, but
It was the last time I did that.
I lived with that's the last time. I lived with a buddy, and he didn't have a good relationship with his dad, and so when he left to go somewhere, we took glow in the dark stars and put them on his ceiling above his bed in the shape of a heart with dad in the middle of
Oh
it.
my god.
Yo, that is so funny. Damn.
Damn, and when he took it off, how long did it stay there?
That's
Do you
pretty
know?
awesome.
The whole time we lived in
Yeah.
rented this place.
Oh, because then it stayed there forever, even when you took
Yes.
them off,
Oh,
that
it tore the
stayed there.
ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I've seen that show, but I don't know
Oh,
what.
you'd fight Courage?
Oh,
Dude.
fuck! That was throw callback. Right on. Well, let's wrap this up with that one, guys. Thanks for hopping on. Hopefully, this was informative for the first half and fun for the second half. So, we'll catch you guys next time.